So I'm back from NAB 2023. It was an absolute blast, and I am so glad I finally got to go back after 4 years of not being able to attend the show. Today, I'm going to give a quick recap of my overall thoughts of NAB 2023, the companies that caught my interest the most, as well as talking about some of the big manufacturers that you all know and love, but as well as what is my take on what is looking forward into the future, as well as some of the highlights of the show. What's going on, everybody? James Jackson here, back again with another video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this channel, enjoy the content. If you do, please hit the subscribe button, hit that notification so you can stay up to date, and hit the likes so we can combat these YouTube algorithms. With NAB behind us, and now we get to sort of finally get this chance to reflect and see, I kind of want to just go over my experience with NAB and sort of just give my overall thoughts of the show. There will be other videos I will try to put out this week. This week is kind of a busy week, but I'm going to try to put out specific videos on specific products, specific companies, and what I've learned by just talking to the reps and the vendors at the show. Overall, I would have to say I had a blast. This was the first time I've been back to NAB since 2019. This is the first time I actually got a chance to go with some of my friends and some of my colleagues, and we just got a chance to just network and connect with people. I got to see people I didn't get to see, and of course, I got a chance to talk to vendors and talk to the people there, and sort of learn more about the products that they're launching and being able to ask questions. I'll start off with the big companies, mainly Canon, Panasonic, and Blackmagic. As most of y'all probably know, I actually had a sit down and talk with Blackmagic with Dave Hoffman, and once again, I want to thank Blackmagic for allowing me to sit down and talk with them. If you haven't seen the video, definitely go check it out. I will leave a link to that in the description below. It's up here, or actually no, it would be up here. I can never remember where it is, but yeah, up here. I sort of got my little insight on sort of their thought process, whereas right now Blackmagic is more concentrating on solidifying the current lineups that they have, and right now I think they're just working to just perfect the current lineups. As of right now, from everything I can tell, there isn't right now, it looks like there's a discussion of a full frame camera for those of that maybe, and the box style camera, it doesn't look like that's sort of their focus right now. Their focus is really getting the Ursa lineup to perfection as they want to, which is why they released the Ursa 12K OLPF. And from the conversation I also had, they are potentially looking at it. It's in discussion to possibly give those who bought the original Ursa 12K a chance to get the OLPF, which I think that would be a great thing. But really, Blackmagic is sort of more of, right now in their state, they're trying to just utilize the resources that they currently have before exploring anything. Now, does this mean that a full frame sensor camera from Blackmagic is completely off the table? They'll never look at it? Absolutely not. That's not the case. It's just right now that's not their focus. Their focus is their current resources, their current assets that they have, in sort of using all the different resources to build what would be interesting products for them. Very, very excited with Resolve 18.5. I think that's clearly the big centerpiece of all the news that they announced recently, and it is really exciting. For me, in terms of post-production work, it's just another level of why I just love, for those of you that may just think, hey, putting out $300 for an editing program may be a lot, this is an investment well worth it, because I only bought the Resolve when it was down to Resolve 15. And from there, I basically got all the benefits, which a lot of this benefits is now in the studio. So having that, even if you just bought the cameras, whether you got the cameras, you got the speed editor, or just bought Resolve out directly, it's well worth its price point and then some. I would even consider highway robbery, but Blackmagic, continue to do that. Let's move on to Canon. So Canon really was focusing more on their higher end, basically the lenses. They're adding to the lens life for their higher end cinema lineup. I got a chance to check out the new Cine zooms that they have, and they are, I'll just be honest, they're beauty. They're a beauty piece of lenses. If you're someone who's definitely into more of the documentary, definitely more, maybe even say broadcast, high-end broadcasts, they're definitely something, even if it's just for rental options, would be something, because the optics of these things and the flow with the focus rings, they're just it's so silky smooth, it's so just natural, and I really dug this new set of lenses, but they're ridiculously expensive. I'm not gonna own one anytime soon. I'm definitely just going to be renting them for when projects and budgets do. But I also got a chance to get my hands on the Canon R5C, and it allowed me to revisit what sort of my takes of the R5C, because in terms of the layout, in terms of the handle, got my chance to hand hold it, test it out. I really love the feel of the R5C, just in the hands. Now, obviously, going handheld is sort of a little problematic because of battery life, but I have a solution thanks to Core and the people I was able to connect with Core. I got their new PowerEdge Edge links that allows me to just go Thunderbolt 3 out to the R5C and basically charge it basically get a day's worth out of one of those batteries. So, and I can keep it on the bottom so I can still keep that small nimbleness. So there may be an R5C in the future on this channel. We never know. The touchscreen was so intuitive and so smooth. It's like I really wish I got that touchscreen and that screen on the Canon C70, but it was just so wonderful to play with. So I enjoyed my time with the R5C. And then I got a chance to go look at Panasonic, and I got a chance to talk to both Sean and Matt Fraser over there. And I had a long conversation with Matt Fraser. They were both awesome, and be able to just have those nice conversations. And I got my chance to hold also the S5 Mark II. The S5 Mark II X was under glass. It was not ready for prime time yet, but I did get a chance to see the S5 II and get my hands on it and test out that autofocus. And I gotta say kudos for just my personal experience of seeing it. Kudos to Panasonic. It's really well done. It's really well made, and I do like it. There is some little things. The interface is not my favorite. I kind of wish it just seems a bit chaotic. I don't know if that's the proper word, but I wish it was a bit more refined, because it's still based off of that contrast detection interface, which I know for Panasonic users, it's probably something they're used to. But for me, I kind of wish it was just a bit more refined. But that's just a nitpick. Again, it's not perfect, but I do like Panasonic's initial philosophy in terms of their autofocus. So I really, really do think this is a great step for them. And I also explained to Matt my concerns regarding the SSD, and kind of was hoping for a little bit more internals, was going for a CF Express. And I explained, as I mentioned in the video, that's, for some reason was pretty controversial, and I don't necessarily understand why. If you haven't seen that video, I'll link it up there. But I explained it to them, and he actually agreed with me in terms of security, that security is kind of a big deal with them in terms of SSD, and that's something that always bothers him as well. And he brought up that Condor Blue has built a cage in the top handle that has an SSD. And I actually, appreciate that both Panasonic and Condor was able to work and solve this issue. It still doesn't address that I don't like the fact that my only option would be to get ProRes options is external, at least 4K. My only 4K options is going external. So I still wish there was CF Express, because one, CF Express, good quality CF Express cards are actually pretty cheap now, and that even compared to even SSD drives, especially when you start factoring the things you need to make an SSD work. But overall, I did enjoy it. I did enjoy talking to Sean, and it was a great conversation. with them. I also got to sit down and check out the Arri booth and check out the Alexa 35, and it is an absolute beast. And I'm going to be honest, it was still a little bit intimidating, especially talking to like Art and Chris, you know, having them come to me, and Michael as well. Shout out to all of them, part of the Arri team, and they sort of gave me some of the things that they look for. It was a bit intimidating from a technical standpoint, but I enjoyed learning, and I enjoyed sort of learning about this new filter tray that Arri is releasing with this, that can give such creative and unique perspective for filmmakers and cinematographers. So I really did enjoy that. So let me just quickly wrap up with the lighting. I'm going to talk about Aputure and Amaran. They showed off their sort of different lights. With Aputure was the infinity bars, really cool concepts. I really like that. And then they showed the Amarans, the Amaran with the 150C and the 300C, which again, really cool that we got to see us getting lights at affordable prices. So I really enjoyed my conversations there. But let's get into what I think are the big hits and the big winners for me. And that is the Chinese companies and how they are really coming for them. First, I got to start off with Zhyuin, which, you know, before NAB actually started, they announced their couple new lights, which were the Molus, I think 60X, and then the 100X lights. The 100 with the X100. Is it 100X, X100? I don't know. But it was really one of the most impressive lights that I have seen. Not necessarily from a power standpoint or a color science perspective. It wasn't like that, but just the capabilities of how flexible in utility it is. And it's one of the most interesting lights that I've seen in a long time that has really got me excited because of the different ways you can possibly use it and really get good quality, solid quality lights in areas that may be more difficult to get some of the bigger boys. Like the Molus X100 is the fact that it's a 100-watt light, and then you got this Bowman's mount that actually has a reflector in it. Then it just opens up the possibilities of getting really good, strong power output and really doing some really interesting creative ways of getting light, like shooting something like on a beach where you don't really have that much options in terms of our outlets, obviously. So you would have, but still being light and nimble, that you can travel with it. It's a really unique thing. And this is coming from a company that typically does gimbals. Speaking of gimbals, we got to talk about DJI. Of course, they've announced the very worst kept secret, actually the two worst kept secret products, which is first the Inspire 3, which, you know, is now this new super beast of a drone, and they just put that out. But now recently, as of today, they are announcing the Mavic 3 Pro, which is sort of an upgrade to the original Mavic 3, where you're now going to get 3 lenses into this body instead of just the 2 that you had before. So this is DJI once again continue to step things up. And of course, we can't forget the fact that they also announced their new, I forget what it's called, it's like their Rialto alternative of the Sony Venice, but it gives new life to a product that I think many people were just not sure about with the Ronin 4D, but now this is sort of just giving the option to really sort of get more creative and a much more affordable price compared to something like the Sony Venice. And then we got to talk about DZO. And I got a chance to talk to Susan, which is ironic because the last time I was at NAB was 2019, and I remember seeing her on the floor right by the Blackmagic booth, and me and her had this interview where she was just walking around with this micro four thirds parafocal lens that was kind of designed to go with cameras like the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K. So seeing her again now and seeing the success that DZO has had over, you know, the years since we've had it, and just it was just such a great thing to just connect with her, and also gotta talk about their anamorphics. I got a chance to hold these anamorphics that they're getting ready to release, these 2x anamorphics, and oh my god, the design is so cool. It's so the finish is awesome. The visuals that I got to see with the anamorphics, it looks amazing. They're actually, and they're, from the little bit I could tell, they're pretty good with breathing, which is not that common in a lot of anamorphics. So I'm really excited to see what DZO is coming in. And now we gotta talk about the two Chinese camera manufacturers that really, to me, in terms of cameras, are the highlights of the show. And that, of course, is Zcam with the F6 Pro. And then there's Kinefinity with the Mavo S35 Mark II and the Mavo LF Mark II. They were on set in person, which I know, for at least for me, these cameras have been relatively quiet since they've been announced, either all the way to like 7 months ago with like Zcam, and like the beginning of this year with Kinefinity, where we haven't seen a lot about them. And I got a chance to not only see them, I got a chance to hold them. I will say, in terms of just handle, they're really well built. It feels nice in the hands. It does neither one of mainly the S35 Mark II and the Zcam F6 Pro felt like they were overdone, they were heavy, but they had a good amount of weight to them. So I'm really excited because both of these are offering full frame cameras with multiple modular mount systems and the ability to offer 3.2 open gate recording. And I'm gonna go, right now this video is already long as it is, so I'm going to make an entirely separate video going over, sort of giving a breakdown. So definitely make sure to subscribe and stay tuned for that. But both of these cameras make me excited, and the interaction between the teams, both Zcam and Kinefinity, was well done. And speaking of Zcam, we got to talk about their monster of a light, the Vega 80C. I turned and looked, and I was like, what the heck is that? And basically, this is Zcam's answer to the Arri Sky panel at a more affordable rate. And it is a monster of a light, 1K power output. It has very great color science with an SSI in both daylight and tungsten of 90+. For those that don't understand, most lights in daylight, their SSI scores are typically around 75. And in tungsten, they're in either the low to mid 80s. So having 90+ in both daylight and tungsten in their SSI scores is incredible color space technology with this light. And the fact that it's only $3,000, which I know for a lot of people that's a lot for a light, but for the quality and the output you're getting, this is a pretty great bargain for it. And then I gotta finish things up with, to me, the biggest sleeper, not only in the Chinese section of manufacturers, but just the biggest sleeper of the show is Accsoon. I was able to get to the booth and sort of talk to them, and I already reviewed one of their products on this channel. If you haven't, that was the CMO. If you haven't, go ahead, check that out. I'm gonna leave that here, as well as leave a link in the description below. I absolutely love it, just because of the fact that it's giving something that we typically use in our everyday life and putting it into a production set. And they've really amped up their wireless technology and their video connectivity, video monitoring connectivity. They're really amping up the products with this new one, this cage that can be mounted to an iPad, and all of a sudden your iPad can be used as this giant monitor on top of the camera. It was awesome. And they also have these new wireless transmission technologies, which from what I saw was extremely low latency, and that says a lot. The fact, and this is going through an HDMI, not even an SDI, because this was on the C70. The fact that it had such a low latency transmission, this got me extremely excited. I've talked to the reps there, and hopefully we can do something together to where I can get some of these products on the channel and sort of talk more about them, because they're one of the most exciting companies, because they're going at it a different way than a lot of the big manufacturers. And basically what I'm trying to say is, with these camera manufacturers and all these other companies, it's like there's all around the world, but I gotta give it to it. A lot of these Chinese manufacturers, what if it's lighting, what if it's video products and monitor products and camera products and lens products, it doesn't matter. We're seeing a high grade quality coming out of this region, and high grade quality just of just seeing all this stuff coming together, that it's really going to be amping up. There's so many sleepers in this region, and I'm excited to see. And I'm just excited for when I get a chance to get my hands on them, and just get excited to just see where it's going. I think in a couple of years, we're going to see a lot of these dominate the industry as a whole. And then finally, the main thing that I loved, and the main thing that I come back from NAB, is just the connections, and just the people I got to connect, the people I got to get to talk to, and just get to enjoy just talking with people. I've had my man Juan, he came out for us, and he was so happy to come out. My man Byron got a chance to go to the show and had a blast. I got to meet great people. I got to connect again with Brandon Washington. Me and him had a nice chat, and we just sat and just had this nice long conversation with just these people walking the floor about this unique bag, which I'll talk about later. But we just that sit down and just get with a bunch of people and just talk for literally almost hours, and just had conversation, just great times. Got a chance to meet up again with Armando, and just talking to people, and just really just people that just love this business that we do. That's the beauty of NAB. It was just a nice vibe where we all just got to sit and just be, on equal terms, just being able to chat and have a good time. So I had a blast. I'm definitely going to try to make an effort to go again next year, because NAB is just always a great time. But these are my thoughts of NAB. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Let me know, leave your comments below. And once again, please, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the likes and help out with the algorithms. I would really greatly appreciate it. And as always, until next time, take care, everyone.